If you don't have fucking muscle to begin with, do not cut. Hello everyone, this is episode 10 of the podcast. My name is Nurtioncoaching, and we're going to talk about how to lose body fat. So in this video, I'll talk about typically 2 to 1 subject, maybe 3 subjects, and I go into more detail in those subjects. Today we will learn how to lose body fat. What's the variables, what should you do, how should you approach it, etc. Because there's more things to just to lose weight. You have to make sure you don't lose a lot of muscle mass and make sure it's mostly fat. That's the typically standard that we want to lose. If you like content like this, please like and subscribe. I make under podcasts, of course, so you can check out number 9. I talk about Ozempic on number 9, and I highly suggest you stay tuned. So, how to lose body fat? That's the subject today. What is the weight? What is weight? And I'm gonna give an example: weight and fat. So, weight is the total body weight that gravity have on us. So, if you weigh yourself like a scale, it will measure weight. It doesn't measure the difference between fat or muscle, or poop, or skeleton bones, etc. It's just weight. So, if I have food in my system and I have clothes on, or even if I didn't have clothes, I have just food in my system, and I weigh 200 pounds, then that means I weigh 200 pounds, right? But people don't understand that of all these other variables, even waking up later could have a dramatic increase of your weight. And they freak out saying, oh my god, I gained 5 pounds on a scale in one day, I am obese, I'm getting fatter, which is not true. You can't get fat in one day. It's very impossible. It would take many days, many weeks, etc. So that same person might take a poop, pee, and weigh themselves exactly this time they wake up, and they weigh 190. And that's their average weight possibly. So there's many factors of weight. But the best weight we want to lose is fat. It's fat and muscle. That's what we measure. We do not want to lose muscle mass, because if someone lost 20 pounds on the scale, right, which is 20 pounds of weight, and it's 15 pounds of that is muscle, and only 5% is that fat, that is a terrible ratio, because we all know muscle support everything pretty much. Joint health, speeding up metabolism, building muscle, losing body fat, ironic, and actually becoming healthier. So we shouldn't just see the metric of weight, etc. We should see the metric of, okay, I want to lose maybe this amount of weight, let's just say that, but I want to lose this amount of pounds of fat. So I want to lose 15 pounds of fat and try to mitigate the muscle loss. So maybe only 5 pounds of muscle. So at least you lose a lot more, because what happens is if you lose mostly weight and that's mostly muscle, you're actually going to be smaller, but you're going to be more flabbier, more fatter, because you lost mostly muscle mass. So I just want you guys to keep that in mind. So we're going to go to the next topic. What you want to lose, we just talked about it. You want to lose fat most likely. Unless you're a bodybuilder that has 300 pounds of muscle, you really want to lose fat. How long? It depends. So what I mean how long is depending on what you're going to do. Are you going to do a mini cut or slow cut? For most people, I recommend to do a slow cut, just because a mini cut, you typically do it so you can go into a bulking phase. Because in a mini cut, you're pretty much essentially starving yourself, or cutting your calories in half to promote fat loss quick. And the reason why we do this is because to trim off excess body fat so we can go into a bulking phase, so we can build more muscle. And just to make the process easier when we have to cut down later, so it doesn't take longer to cut down. For most people, I recommend 3 to 4 months. That's more realistic to lose body fat, etc. Of course, under variable counts, but 3 to 4 months, a slow cut, do that. If you need to take a diet break, do a maintenance period, or even do a week of a bulk just to get that metabolism going. I'll also suggest have some refeed days during that week. Don't have a consistent calorie deficit, even though mentally you might can do it and your body at the time could possibly do it. Just because your metabolism will speed up if it has extra calories one day, and throughout those under days of cutting, you become more active because you have more calories on that day. So depending on the surplus of calories, or depending how much you're eating on that one day of 6 days of cutting and 1 day of refeeding, you have to make that adjustment for yourself. Mini cuts typically last for probably Yeah, 3 to 6 months. No, 3 to 6 weeks, and long cuts last for 3 to 4 months, or longer depending how much body fat percentage, what's your body fat percentage, and how much weight you have or how much fat you got. Okay, should you track calories? It depends. So tracking calories is a great form of measurement to find your calorie maintenance, to cut down calories, to lose weight. So for me, I would suggest track calories just so you know portion size, so you know your macros. So how much protein are you hitting? You don't know that. Just because you seem like you understand it doesn't mean you actually know it until you track it. Even sometimes sometimes I think my macros are on the dot, but sometimes they're actually higher or lower, so it just depends. Honestly, I'm gonna give a brief discussion. Most calories are around 25 to 30% inaccurate, just because the FDA allows it and it's no legal law that stating that calories have to be pinpoint accurate. But it's still a form of measuring calories, and it is awesome to do so you understand principles. Because most of you do not have a nutrition coach that can guide you or figure out your macros for you. And I won't suggest to use the online calculator, but if you do, use the online calculator for only 1 week. When you do use the online calculator for 1 week, make sure you're not losing or gaining weight, so you know that's your maintenance calories. If you're losing weight, bump up the calories probably around 200, 300. And if you're gaining weight, probably slow down the calories by 200, 300. So it just depends. Should you track calories? For me, yes, I would suggest to track calories. If you're a beginner, do about probably a month so you understand the principles of tracking calories. 3 to 4 weeks, I would say. If you don't want to, that's okay. Just make sure you eat more whole foods. Most of you have the American diet, like me. This was me when I was 255. So I had the most of American diet, eating like shit. So for most of you, you can still lose weight by eating more whole foods. You guys know the answer. Eat whatever you want. Don't worry about keto. Don't worry about carbs. Just eat whole foods, and that's really it. Make it taste good. Make it have seasoning, and you will lose body fat later on. But let's say you go down and down, down. You want 20% all the way to 15, around 15, maybe 20. You might have to dial in your calories to see where you're at. You might have to do a reverse diet, which is increase calories to get higher maintenance. Multiple factors. I'm not gonna get into that. I just say track calories for about 3 to 4 weeks. So this is actually the most important. Everyone talks about losing weight and stuff, but most of you are busy, typical office workers, nurses, etc. have a lot of stress but won't admit it. But yeah, you guys have to make sure you have good sleep. Stress is good, or at least decent, because stress can mitigate fat loss or retain fat, and sleep too. Nutrition, micronutrition is still important. Micro is important sometimes in macro. Of course, macro is important like fats and protein, but micro is still plays a role for your body to function and to lose body fat. So this is all to lose body fat. If you don't get one of them correctly, most likely, especially sleep, you won't able to lose as much body fat that you want to lose. Macro as well, you have to make sure your fats are good. Just because it's fat doesn't turn into fat. Fats regulate hormones. If you have low fat, you're probably not going to lose a lot of body fat. You're probably going to lose mostly muscle, and you're going to have shitty stress and shitty sleep because you need fat to survive. Same thing with protein. You need protein to burn extra calories, possibly be more satisfied, so you don't have more cravings throughout the night. Help you lose body fat because it builds muscle and promotes recovery. Many aspects to protein. Carbs is a great energy source. You don't need carbohydrates, but I would highly recommend just to eat carbohydrates, just so you have more energy, and it's a quick form of carbs. And I'm talking about good carbs. I'm not talking about cereal and stuff. Maybe that's why people don't like carbs, because they typically associate with processed food. But just eat potatoes and vegetables. Season your vegetables. Fry your vegetables. Do something, make it taste good. Stop being a little baby about it. If you don't like vegetables, then eat more meat, then eat more fruit, and take a multivitamin. That's what I would suggest. I'm not trying to be rude, but that's honestly what I can suggest. There's not really a lot to it. And training is last. Training isn't the last thing. I see people in the treadmill 24/7 in the treadmill. Like I used to be the one just trying to burn so many calories before. Right now I'm on the bike, so because I'm on the mini cut, so I'm just burning extra calories. But I know what to do. As training comes last, training is not the most important. Sleep is the most important. nutrition, no, sleep, stress is like the first two important. If you don't got those things, then you can say goodbye to your fat loss. It's impossible. Unless you're a kid or you're young, then maybe. But sleep and stress is important. Third is nutrition. Training is not third. Training is last. Training is, if you love training or you're a gym junkie, then that's your meditation. That doesn't count for anything. Training, I don't need to do training to lose weight. It would help to promote, to build muscle, to help me lose weight, yes. But if your sleep is not in check, your nutrition and your nutrition, stress, and sleep is not in check, you can say goodbye to all that. Okay? But yeah, that's what I would suggest. And that's the only way to do it. What to be aware of. So, we just talked about it. About mini cutting and slow cutting. Time, we just talked about how much time does slow cutting and, hold up. Time, slow cut, and long cut. Oh, okay, so time, slow cut, and long cut. So slow cut or mini cut typically treated for a week, 3 to 6 weeks. That's max. You cut your calories in half, or you cut it up around 1.5 or no 2.5, right? So if you eat 5,000 calories to maintain your weight, you might cut it at 2,500 or at 2,000 to go into bulking phase to trim up mostly body fat. Right? Would I recommend to mini cut for most endurity? No. Most of you are thinking dieting is eating salads and stuff, and that's a mini cut already you're doing. I would recommend just to eat more whole foods, and then after that, track your calories to see where you're at after 3 months or 4 months when you're holding still on the when you're holding your weight still on the scale or your progress pictures are not changing, then possibly you have to track to see where you're at. That's why I recommend it. Slow cut. 3 to 4 months, probably longer. If you need diet breaks, go ahead and do a diet break, probably a week or two. Especially for overweight individuals like I was, you probably have to take about 9 months, a year. Most of you, I suggest if you have 50 pounds to lose, take a year, because mentally, physically, multiple factors, stress. It'll be more smarter if you just do a year in general, or 8 months, 6 months. Mini cutting as well, 3 to 4 weeks. I won't suggest it. So that's how long you should do it. Okay, what you talk about. We just talked about this, but it's just another reminder. Like I said, hormones. Hormones a big important role of losing fat. If you can't lose fat, or if your hormones are not in check, you're not able to lose fat or build muscle. If you're not able to lose fat or build muscle, it's going to be harder for you to lose body fat and to get actually healthier. It is possible to lose weight on the scale, but it isn't possible to make sure though that weight you lost is fat or muscle because your sleep is poor and your nutrition is bad. Just because you're in the gym doing cardio 24/7, but your nutrition is not right and your sleep is not right, especially your stress, then you're not going to see the progress that you want to have. So always remember, it's so cliche, but faster does not mean better. I can work harder at my job and get promotion, that's great, but just working hard on yourself and working hard in the gym, but your nutrition is off and your sleep is off, that doesn't mean better. Doesn't mean better. It's not simple. It's not saying something is simple. It's simple me telling you this, but actually doing the right way is not simple. Especially now, we have social media, we have kids, we have stress, we have all these variables that pushing our back. We have, my sister lost 100 pounds and she did this diet. Or my cousin lost 50 pounds and he only took 3 weeks. Or these clickbait YouTube stuff. Take it slow. You're going to keep the weight off. That's the most important. Actually, studies out there, if you take it slow, you actually have a higher chance that someone did it fast and keep the weight off. Everyone knows about The Big Loser. How they lost all that weight super fast. Horrible stuff, right? For money. And most of them gained all back. Because it was unsustainable. They was doing essentially a mini cut 24/7. They were wrecking their hormones. They had to go on TRT, some of them, which is super horrible. And I don't want you guys to have that problem. For me, I was lucky. I could have, what I was gonna say? Oh yeah. For me, I was lucky because I took it slow. I was 255 to keep in mind. So I understand where you guys are coming from. And I actually went down to 144, which is very stupid because my training wasn't right. My nutrition wasn't right at that time because I was eating garbage. Even though I was eating healthy on the surface, I was still eating garbage. That's kind of ironic. My stress wasn't right because I was putting too much stress on my body, wasn't have enough muscle, and I was very lean very lean at 13% body fat, which was still horrible for me. What I'm just trying to say is, if you take it slow, you will actually understand the process way longer. Your body has the time to adjust and adapt. And if you don't adapt, you will regress. Remember that, okay? I like to say this: if you chase the looks, you will not get the health. If you chase the health, you will get the looks. I chase the looks now. I chase the health now. I wanted health. When I went to 144 all the way to 200, I wanted the health. I was skinnier. You could literally see my bones popping out. I wanted the health, so I chased the health. Performance, powerlifting, lifting heavy ass weights, right? Now I'm cutting down. Now I'm chasing the looks, and guess what? I got the health already. Now I'm gonna get the aesthetics, and now I understand what to do and not to do. And with that, my sleep is good, my nutrition is good, my stress levels are better, and my training program is essentially the best thing ever. And I have more knowledge. So guys, just remember, keep it slow and steady. If you're more advanced, you can do this. Not advanced by you went to the gym for 3 years, but advanced with your knowledge and education. That's why I highly promote researching your stuff so you don't get confused on social media. Even me, research what I say. So go on YouTube, try and research. Don't use your famous YouTuber. Use someone else. Try and research yourself. Use what other people think. Even look up something that's scientific. Try and research. Because if you don't research anything anymore and just believe everything on the internet, you're not going to have great information. If you can scroll on TikTok or Instagram or anything hours and hours and hours laying down on your bed, then you can do about a 30-minute research. Is it boring? Yes. But for me, even when I scroll hours and hours and hours, I'm still active. I'm still learning something. I'm not watching random stuff. So you guys have no excuse. If you're doing that, you can research things on your own. I'm trying to teach you what you need to be taught. Research. We just talked about macronutrients. We talk about, do you have muscle? Oh, this is the last thing. This maybe should be the first thing, but this is really the last thing. If you don't have fucking muscle to begin with, do not cut. The reason why you do not cut is because if you're just a beginner and do not have muscle, you don't have a foundation when you cut down to actually see those abs or to actually see those bicep striations. The reason why, especially young teenagers, is because we don't have a developed core. Just because you did ab crunches 24/7 and you did some physical activity doesn't mean you have muscle mass. And don't get me wrong, some of you can go to a lean stage, 10% body fat, to see some ab definition. I literally had to starve myself and went down to 12 to 13% body fat just to see a kind of visible 4-pack. And at that time, I was super weak, not strong at all, and tired, sluggish, wrecked my hormones, so many factors. So for you young teenagers out there, most of you, do not cut. Try to get intermediate weight or trying to train for performance. Like I said, I'm talking as a teenager. I'm 16 years old. So if you train for performance and trying to get bigger and stronger and trying to do the bench squat and deadlift and trying to get more weight on the bar with good form, you will get stronger overall. And when you chase the health, you will get the looks, meaning you will be bigger. You might have more body fat than you're used to or comfortable with, but if you can cut down that body fat, you will get the looks that you always desired. And guess what? If you cut down to, let's say, 150, right? Let's say you were 144 without any muscle, right? You bulked up, gained a lot of muscle. You're 200 pounds. You cut down to 150 again. Now you look like you're 170. You know how crazy that is? Mind-boggling, right? Because you build more muscle mass. So most of you who are skinny, fat, obese, or whatever needs to build more muscle. This goes for the older generation as well. 30, 40, 50s, even 60. Build more muscle mass. You will get the looks that you want. So, do you need a cut? I don't know. But if you're young and you barely have intermediate weight, I won't cut. Don't cut. It's not, I don't care if your friend got 6-pack abs. Some of it is probably genetics, but you will get better abs if you gain muscle and cut down later on. Focus on the bench, focus on the squat, focus on the deadlift. We're just trying to get stronger overall. But that's really it for today's video. I talked about this because I'm very passionate. I come from a place where I was obese, lean, and now stronger than I was before. And not a lot of kids who are my age have this type of information. They don't have this. They have more mistakes that I had, etc. I'm coming with a place of understanding. I can understand through the younger generation, and I can understand through the older generation. People are busy. People don't want to do this because they're tired. They don't want to start this, etc. When I was 13 to 16, I made the most progress. I made 3 years of my life into 6 years of my life. You just have to focus on what you can do. If you're really trying, you have to focus what you can do. Make a game plan. You really have to make a game plan. I'm telling you, try and write on a notepad like, hey, 3 years. What can I do right now? Literally, like that's literally how to do it. Take it one step at a time. Don't beat yourself over it. Time will go by fast. Trust me. And figure out what you want to do. Figure out how you're going to do it, and figure out how you're going to proceed it. And of course that's not going to be accurate. Of course when you try to do something, it's not going to hit right on the dot of like the fucking circle. You have to take time, and it's going to take time to get used to, because habits are hard to build. But once you get the habits, it's freaking easy. And sometimes you will drop those habits for different habits. So it's like adapting and changing, you know? Adapt, overcome, and change. I think that's street principles. So that's really it, today's episode 10 of the podcast. If you like content like this, please like and subscribe so I can make more content like this. If you really understand where I was coming from, you understand where you came from, maybe you lost 100 pounds, comment below, tell me how you did it, help people in comments, you know. But that's really it for No BS Nutrition video. Goodbye.